welcome into the Logan Ward Show. Happy to have you here on a Game 1 of the NBA Finals reaction. Pacers steal one in Oklahoma City. This, is the third time this postseason that this has happened? This is becoming a regular occurrence with... and I have a lot of thoughts on this. First of all, I made a little short video, I guess it was last week, talking about Rick Carlisle and how if the Pacers were able to win the NBA Finals, would he be considered a top 10 coach of all time? Or where would he rank all time? Because if the Pacers were to win the NBA Finals, he'd have 2 championships, one in 2011 with the Mavericks, which is, in my mind, the greatest single playoff run of any team ever. And if somehow he was able to beat this Indiana Pacers team, that won 60-plus games, that are on a historic run to the NBA Finals with the MVP and the scoring champs with SGA, I think you would have to consider it. I thought that he outcoached the OKC's coach, Coach Daigneault, I believe is how you pronounce it. I thought he outcoached him. Just the Pacers never stopped fighting, and that's a coaching thing. That is... They buy into the coach, they buy into the system, they buy into what he is saying. That is complete buy-in, because there were plenty of opportunities for this Pacers team to kind of lay down and just not compete anymore. There was a specific moment in the second quarter where, and I bookmarked this because I thought this was really telling. There was a moment in the second quarter. There's about 5.5 minutes left in the second quarter of this game. And Pascal Siakam makes a layup. It's 41-37. So it's a 4-point game. And at the moment I was like, all right, the Pacers are still in this game. They're keeping it close, which is what you have to do, right? But knowing in the back of my mind that Oklahoma City has gone through this postseason where they've had opportunities like this and then they've just piled it on. They have just completely dominated third quarters. They've outscored their opponents in the third quarter, and they just go on these really crazy runs. And so at 5:30 remaining in the first quarter, or in the second quarter, Siakam makes a bucket. It is now a 4-point game. Then on the other side of the court, Lou Dort hits a 22-foot three-pointer. It's 44-37. Halliburton has a turnover. Shea misses a shot. Siakam with the rebound. But then on the other end, Miles Turner has an offensive foul, which is a turnover. Chet Holmgren misses a 3. Defensive rebound by Halliburton. And then Halliburton loses the ball. Dort steals it, and then Dort hits another 3. So, in a minute and 15 seconds of game time in the second quarter, you go from 41-37, feeling like you have something. Dort hits a 3. You force 2 Oklahoma City Thunder misses. You turn the ball over twice. Dort hits another 3, and now it's a 10-point game. And that's where I was like, all right, this is it. This is over. And because of Rick Carlisle's coaching, because of the temperament of this team that we have seen throughout the postseason, not just in this game. This has happened now 4 times in this postseason where Indiana has come back. They just kept fighting, kept swinging. And none of the Pacers had an incredible game. You had 6 players in double figures. Halliburton was a plus 12 in the plus minus, but he had 14 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. Siakam is the leading scorer for the Pacers. He had 19 and 10. Nembhard had 14 and 6. Neesmith had 10. Miles Turner had 15. He had some really big three-pointers there in the fourth quarter. Miles Turner had two threes in the fourth quarter that really kind of, he had 8 points in the fourth quarter. But they just never stopped. They just never gave up. And I thought this Oklahoma City team kind of got away from what they were really good at. Number one, the fact that they only played Chet Holmgren 23 minutes in the entire game is kind of baffling. Yeah, Chet played 23 minutes. Isaiah Hartenstein was 17 minutes. This was clearly a game plan decision by Oklahoma City that they were only going to do one big at a time. And I don't think that worked out for them. The rebounding, the Pacers out-rebounded Oklahoma City 56-39. And a lot of those rebounds were clutch late rebounds in the fourth quarter that kind of allowed them to get back into this game. I thought that Carlisle outcoached Oklahoma City. They just kept swinging away. He didn't call a timeout because he knew that Halliburton kind of could get to his spot. And so a lot of this game I thought was at the hands of Rick Carlisle and what he has been able to do with this Indiana Pacers team. Don't forget that Rick Carlisle, this is something that was brought up to me recently, which I forgot because at the time I was not paying attention. Rick Carlisle was also the coach the year before Mike Brown took over the Pistons in 2004, and the Pistons won the championship. So in 2003, Rick Carlisle was the Pistons coach, and they had a pretty good season. But much like what the conversation around Tom Thibodeau in New York is could you get over the hump with Rick Carlisle? And they made a move. The next year, they win an NBA championship. But Rick Carlisle's in now rarefied air, where after game one, you steal one on the road. You steal one. That if somehow Rick Carlisle wins this championship, we got to start talking about him as one of the great coaches in NBA history. All right, a couple more thoughts here on this game one. I take notes during these games, and this is Pacers staying in it. Usually in the third quarter, Oklahoma City has had these really good runs in the third quarter. The Pacers actually outscored Oklahoma City 31-28 in the third quarter. So they won the quarter coming out of the half, which was impressive. Here in the late stages of the game, though, Oklahoma City just couldn't hit a shot. And they kept trying to get the ball to Shea, which, of course, I completely understand. Shea shot the ball 30 times yesterday. Jalen Williams with 19 shots, Lou Dort with 10. Shea shot the ball 30 times. But in the fourth quarter, with about 6:04 left, they had gone on a 12-2 run in 3 minutes. Couple minutes later, Oklahoma City had scored a couple of baskets, and then the Pacers went on a 10-2 run in over 2 minutes. I think that the Pacers, or the Thunder, only had 3 baskets. They had 7 shots made in the fourth quarter. 7 field goals. They went 36% in the fourth quarter. In the last couple of minutes, I think they had only made 3 shots. Now, what kept the Pacers in this was their three-point shooting. This is a team that had not shot as many three-pointers as they have all season long. But clearly, I think this was a game plan decision. They shot 39 threes, went 46% from 3, 18 of 39 from behind the arc did Indiana. And this is what kept them in the game. I think this was a strategic move by the Pacers coaching staff, because what Oklahoma City likes to do is get you in the paint and mess with you. They want you to get into the paint, try to drive. They will kind of concede threes on the outside. And Oklahoma City did just that. Indiana came in 39 threes attempted in this game, which was significantly more than what they did in the regular season. So, I also thought that the refs kind of didn't let Shea bait fouls as much in this game as maybe others. There was a couple times that he got some contact and it seemed kind of marginal, but I thought the refs did a pretty good job of kind of letting these guys play. But here we are, 1-0 Pacers still won on the road. I fully expect in Game 2, though, that the Thunder come out more aggressive. I think they'll have more of a 2 big man lineup, try to get Chet involved more. I do think that the Thunder will run away with Game 2, but hey, I thought that they were going to run away with Game 1. I thought that the energy in the building was going to make them kind of just have at it in Game 1, and they never really got to that point. The Pacers just kept fighting. It was always like an 11, 13, 15-point game at one point, but it never seemed out of control. It seemed like the Pacers were still in it, and they never really got that knockout punch. And the Pacers outscored Oklahoma City 31-28 in the third, and then 35-25 in the fourth quarter. So the Pacers just don't quit, and that's as much as I can say. All right. I want to talk about this real quick because there's a lot of conversation happening about the NBA. And going into last night's game, there's a lot of conversation about ratings and would people want to watch Indiana and Oklahoma City. And look, I don't think that the NBA and the networks are as concerned with ratings as people might think. Obviously, they want more people to watch the games. However, I would argue that the advertisers that are wanting these ad spots in these moments, they want basketball people, right? That's why they're going to advertise on these games. The advertisement spots and the type of advertisements you get during an NBA game are a lot different than you get during a Fox primetime TV show. So they're different audiences demographics that people are trying to go for. So I don't think that the advertisements and the ratings are going to necessarily drive the conversation. But I will say this, that if you are someone or someone who has been complaining about the NBA and the style of basketball, that it's becoming too soft or all this stuff, over the last 10 years, where we've seen this change go from more of a mid-range game, we've gone to now more of a three-point driven league, and what we've seen over the last couple of years is just matchup hunting, one-on-one ISO pick and rolls, right? If you are somebody who does not like that type of basketball and you don't enjoy watching it, and you've been saying, man, back in my day, if you are one of those people, watch this series. Because these two teams are sort of a throwback where SGA loves being in the mid-range. He loves a pull-up jumper from about 12 feet. He loves it. That's where he wants to be. He actually kind of struggles offensively from the three-point line, and to the point where a lot of teams will kind of concede a shot. He only shot 6 attempts yesterday. He had 30 field goal attempts, and only 6 of those were from 3. So you can see where he likes to live. This Thunder team, defensively, they're incredible. They like to get after you. They crowd the paint. They are great, quick, athletic. They try to steal the ball at midcourt. Very high defensive intensity. And on the other side, you have the Indiana Pacers, who don't shoot a ton of threes. Last night excluded, but don't shoot a ton of threes. Tyrese Halliburton is kind of a pass-first, offense setup first point guard. He's not a scoring first point guard. Yesterday, he only had 14 points and only shot the ball 13 times. So he's not one of those guys that's going to try to shoot the ball 50 times a game. This Pacers team loves to push in transition. They're always looking to get ahead, get an outlet pass, and move the ball ahead on the court. And defensively, while there are sometimes Tyrese Halliburton's a defensive liability, I think that there's actually a lot of fun in the fact that the Pacers are one of the only teams in the NBA that you see pick up full court. They're just willing to pick up and guard 90 feet. And that makes this team fun to watch. So the defensive pressure from Indiana, the past first-century point guard from Indiana, they have incredible passing ability to the Pacers. And then Oklahoma City's defensive intensity at half court, being able to force turnovers and get out in transition. And Shea, who loves mid-range games, I think this series might actually be better than most series in terms of the people who lost interest in the NBA coming back. Now, are they actually going to watch? Who knows? Are they actually going to watch an Indiana, Oklahoma City? Who knows? Right? Maybe they're too far gone. But if you are listening to this, or if you know someone who has kind of lost their love for the NBA, and they said it was way better in the early 2000s, tell them to watch this series. All right. Let's talk one more NBA Finals thing. The NBA Finals is on ESPN. More specifically, I guess it's on ABC. And there were times when I was a kid that the NBA Finals were one of the happiest moments of my summer. There was something about the summer starting. You've spent all day outside. You've been playing. And then at about 7 o'clock, the NBA Finals pregame comes on. You feel the aura. You feel the vibe of the NBA Finals. And you felt like something big was going to happen. I remember 2006, the Mavericks were playing the Heat. And I guess at that point I was 9 years old. And I remember us having a TV on the back porch. And we were sitting there, and my dad's grilling, right? TV's on the back porch. We got it plugged in. We got the little antenna, and we're ready to watch the NBA Finals. We're ready to watch the Dallas Mavericks. We lived about 40 minutes from the Mavericks from Dallas. And it just felt big. It felt exciting. And I turned on the TV yesterday, and it looks like any other Wednesday night game. There's a pregame show, which isn't very good on ESPN right now. Maybe Shaq, Charles, Ernie, and Kenny might be able to fix that. But it's not very good. But I'm sitting there, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, there's no aura. There's no big event feel to this NBA Finals. And for the record, any NBA Finals. I mean, the last couple of years, these NBA Finals have been a disaster. Now, 2020, obviously, the bubble's a completely different story. But from when was the last? I'm going to look this up because I don't know when the last time they had the Finals logo on the court. Let me see. Because I know they had it in 2006. I know they had it in 2008. Let's see. 2009. So the last time the NBA used a trophy logo on the court during the finals was in 2009. The NBA removed the large trophy decals in 2014 due to player safety concerns, finding the decals inconsistent with the court surface and potentially causing slips. While the NBA stopped using the large trophy decals, they did use a smaller decal from 2010 to 2014. Okay. I have beef with this because you can't say, Well, safety concerns, we can't have the decal on the court. When you have an entire in-season tournament where the whole thing is you completely change the court and they're all different colors and there's all these decals and there's all this stuff on it. You can't make that argument that it's about player safety when in season you have something like this. The NBA Finals used to feel like an event, and we're getting to the point in television where things are an event. Every single Sunday and Saturday in the fall is an event, right? Baseball has had an issue with 162 games in the year to try to figure out how they can get a TV audience. What do? They do the Rickwood Field, this historic, and by the way, I love it. I love this. The Rickwood Field, I think they're doing Talladega this year. They do the Little League World Series game every year. These events, and I watch them. Those are some of the only baseball games that I watch because they're events. The NBA Finals should be an event. And ESPN has nothing. They have a gold bar around the scorebug, and it says the NBA Finals. That's it. Nothing else is different from what they've had in the regular season. Nothing is different than a Wednesday night ESPN game than the NBA Finals except that. Yes, they have like the intros and outros and they have the gold. Nothing else shows that. They have the Finals patch on the back. We can never see it because usually when we get close-up shots, we're not looking at the back of people's heads. Used to have the trophy on the jersey. Now that's Nike and then whatever brand is sponsoring the jersey. But the NBA is losing something. And this continues to be a conversation that has been had for years. And hopefully they'll be able to make something happen. Because it doesn't feel big anymore. And I don't know if the NBA is not going to do anything because people still watch no matter what. It's the NBA Finals. But it used to feel special. It used to give that 9-year-old kid just the hot summer day playing all day. And now I get to sit down and watch the NBA Finals. And it's this big event. And I get to watch Kobe. And I get to watch all these players. I get to watch Dirk and D. Wade and Shaq. I fell in love with basketball in 2008. Of course, I watched it, but I really fell in love with it and started watching it even more in 2008 because I liked Ray Allen, and he got traded to the Celtics, and I started watching the Celtics, and that's why I'm a Celtics fan. But that Finals trophy in the middle of TD Garden, that was special. And the NFL, or the NBA, is losing something, not having it. All right, final topic. Aaron Rodgers signs with the Steelers or is going to sign with the Steelers. I'm not interested in this. I don't think that everyone knew this was going to happen. This was the worst kept secret in all of the NFL. He's going to a harder division and a team that I don't think is going to make the playoffs. They don't have any true weapons. I don't think this team is going to be extremely good. I know defensively Mike Tomlin has them where they compete really hard and they're a good defensive team, but offensively I think we're right back to where we've been with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers for the past 6 years since the 3Bs left. I think this is a year that the Steelers don't make the playoffs. Aaron's going to hang them up at the end of this. So I'm really not interested in this story. I'm only mentioning it here because it's one of the only NFL topics that we have at this point, and I do think that some people want to pick on or like to hate Aaron Rodgers, and then the other side really loves Aaron Rodgers. I used to be in the camp that I really liked him, and now I can't stand him. So I don't think that this is going to make a significant impact on their winning and losing. Yes, they're going to be better than Mason Rudolph. I mean, that's a no-brainer. But, a tweaked ankle here, going up against the Ravens defense and the Browns defense, twice a year. It's going to be a lot harder than going up against the Patriots defense and the Dolphins defense of the last couple of years. So I think this is going to be even a harder task for Aaron Rodgers, and I'm not expecting much out of the soon-to-be Hall of Famer, because he'll be a Hall of Famer, but I think he does retire. All right. Be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast, Apple, Spotify, wherever that is. Be sure to subscribe there. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you don't there. All right. If you are watching on YouTube, hit the like button. That does a lot for the algorithm, apparently. So make sure that you hit the like button if you do like this video and you do like the podcast. So if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. And we'll be back. Game 2 reaction coming up on Saturday. So a lot of stuff going on in the sports world. We're getting towards kind of the dog days of summer, but a lot of still to talk about here with the NBA Finals. All right, see y'all next time. Peace.